That's EPROM. I'm going to teach you how to make that today. Hey, my name is GARDNSOUND. Welcome to GARDNSOUND 365. This is the show where we write music every day for a year. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to make beats like EPROM. I'm bringing back a series on my show that I haven't done in quite a while. It's called Style Guide. In fact, here's the new logo for Style Guide. Wham! There you go. You're welcome. Before we get into that today, I've got a couple of announcements to make. One, be sure this week that you tune in to 91.1 FM on Georgia Tech's WREK radio if you are in the Atlanta area. If you are not in the Atlanta area, don't worry, you can still listen. They have an online player that actually does a duplex and sends out the signal as well. So you don't have to be, around where you can hear FM. You can listen to it on the internet. So I'll put a link to that in the description below. It's a Facebook event, so if you have a Facebook account, please click the I'm Going button. I'll be playing on the show EDM sound system from 9 p.m. until about 12 a.m. I'm gonna go on at about 10, do a quick set with my guitar and my vocals. While I'm throwing down some tracks, it's gonna be a live set. So if you've never heard me do a live set, definitely tune in. I'll be there talking as well. I'll do a set, have a quick interview, and then do another set and go home. I have a new deal from my people over at VST BUZZ. So this is on a sample pack of 50s vintage Hammond organs from a company called Acoustic Samples. This is a very true to real life recreation of the Hammond B5 organ. It's not a contact pack. In fact, this comes with UVI Workstation 2, which is the player that houses this particular sample pack. So there's no extra software required. So if you don't have contact, don't worry. This is not a contact sample pack. It's its own standalone VST. So if you want to check that out, there's of course going to be links in the description down below. If you do decide to purchase it, please use the link from the description down below. That way you get a discount. Today's discount is going to be 50% off. The total price is $53 USD. EPROM. What is there to say about EPROM that hasn't already been said by everybody? You know what I'm saying? He's one of those artists that everybody knows about, but nobody really talks about. And it's because his music doesn't exactly fit the mold of what's popular in electronic music. I've seen him perform live. It's very entertaining. I would hesitate to put him in the category of 808 bass, and I would hesitate to put him in the category of like glitch hop or trip hop, because he's not. He's very, it's organic, kind of sounding music. But it's not blue tech, right? And it's not jam band. It's very synthetic. It's very organic. It's very strange. You get this feeling that there's these like living, breathing, rhythms and stuff that go on in the music, but they're all clearly synthesized, right? There is absolutely no real instrumentation in his music whatsoever, other than the occasional sample that he'll throw in. But even with the sample, he really messes with it. Really distorts it, really gets it going. It's hard to put into words. Have you ever played one of those side-scrolling spaceship shooter video games, and every once in a while you come across a boss that's like a big, nasty kind of organism, but is also cybernetic in some way? Here's a screenshot of something like that. Yeah, it's like that. That's how I would say that his music sounds like that looks. What I'm going to be doing today is teaching you how to write a beat like EPROM. Now in Style Guide, this is different than Recomposed, okay? Recomposed, we actually take a song and try to get as close as we can to that song. So my hope is that you can turn off this episode, open up your DAW, and just start hammering out an EPROM song. That's the goal. Right? I don't want you to be able to clone him. I want you to be able to imitate, to emulate, to, you know what I'm saying? So that's the goal, not duplication. We're not going for that. This is not Recomposed. All right, so there's definitely some things we need to go over. Let's talk about what we're hearing. Let's start with that. So what do we hear? We hear definite drum machine drums, right? We don't know necessarily if he's using a DSI Tempest or if he's actually using a Roland RD 808, or a TR-808 rhythm composer, or a 707. We don't know. We do know that it's very on time, right? Not a lot of swing going on, or there's some sort of a weird. There might be some swing. It could be a hip hop kind of pattern. So you've got that underlying kind of bass line going on here. Let me play it back a little bit. The drums in the mix, in terms of how loud they are secondary to that crazy bass line that you're hearing go. Listen. There's not much going on in that drum line. There's boom, boom, boom. All of the interesting stuff is coming from what you hear on top of that, which is that nasty, distorted saw bass going. So here's what makes EPROM EPROM. That noise, right? That nasty saw wave bass line. Okay, it's very automatic, it's very automated, and it's playing an arpeggiated pattern. Okay, so what he does to make his music is that he lets Ableton, or whatever DAW he's using, I think it's Ableton, he lets that play the bass line, and then he screws with the synthesizer. It's an actual hardware synthesizer. So you're going to have a difficult time making EPROM-like beats without an actual hardware synthesizer. And you're gonna see me, I'll turn the camera down. Hey look, that's why I was messing around with that camera angle yesterday. I'm gonna turn the camera down so you can actually see me messing with the Dave Smith instruments while I'm making that arpeggiated phrase, okay? Maybe I'll put the camera over here so you can actually see me tweak stuff, and then get the screenshot going so we can actually look at what I'm writing on the screen. And we're just gonna get right into it. I'm gonna shoot for around 1.5 to 2 minutes of material, because this type of composition is incredibly time consuming, because you have to make sure things are automated, and a lot of rehearsal goes into it, right? Because you wanna make sure you turn the knob at the right rate, that sort of thing. So I won't be able to produce my normal 3 to 4 minute song. 1 to 2 minutes is gonna be my goal today. Around 95, that's pretty typical for his music. And I think we're going to use a snare and a clap together here. Yep. Alright, so let's duplicate that. Let's try an MPC like an 8 swing, maybe a 63%. Not quite. Let's try a 63% 16th note swing. Let's try something more aggressive. Ooh, that's closer. Oh, you hear how boom, clap, boom, clap, boom, boom. It's not bum bum. It's not 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 1 E and a 2 and. Good. So now we need to add a little bit of excitement to this line, because we can't just have a plain snare kick. How about like a ride? I think this 808 has a good ride on it. Let's see here. Cymbal. We need to add something interesting on the second one. How about some like beep, like some crazy toms. And we need to add some like, I don't know, maybe some weird. How about weird pitch bend or transposition right here. So these, we'll just drop them way the hell down while they're going, right? And now for the second section, I definitely want to add in like a little bit of a hi-hat kind of in there, so we're gonna get a good. That's been taken care of. So here's our full beat. So now we need to get a crazy So to make that noise, here's what we have to do. First thing we need to do is put in just a single MIDI clip in here. Boom, bum, boom, boom, bum, boom, boom. So what am I hearing? What note is that? And we need an arpeggiator. And that's going to come from the MIDI effects section of Ableton, which I don't go into too much. That's where that sound comes from. You've got to mess with the synthesizer while it's playing. It's the only way to get that noise. So now what we're going to do is practice it for a bit and then record it in. It's going to sound so organic but so synthesized. See? I messed up there. I wanted to go bim 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 bim. Alright, so that last part was an accident, but I think I can use it in the song. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to compose the rest of this out, because from here I'm really just going to chop it up into different sections and make it sound cool, and like add a couple of effects on top. But that's pretty much it. Like, that's how it's done. You've got to have, and the shitty part is, there's a significant amount of expense involved, because analog synthesizers are not cheap. And you can use the digital synthesizer, but it won't sound the same. It just won't. There are a couple of synthesizers out there that are a bit cheaper than mine. This is the Prophet 08, all right? This is a pretty expensive model. And I bought it back when I had a nicer job. There is the Mofo, which is a Dave Smith Instruments synthesizer. It is a single voice analog synthesizer, very reasonably priced, which you can pick up for about 350 bucks as a module. Now, if you don't have a keyboard, you can pick up a DSI Mofo with a keyboard attached to it for about $550. But if you've got a MIDI controller, you don't need the keyboard, right? I mean, look at this. I've got modules right over here. I mean, these right here, these are modules, right? I can control them with my keyboard, right? But I don't need the keyboard version. The Access Virus I have, the keyboard version is like $1,500 more, so it's not worth it. The Moog Minotaur is another analog synthesizer that is relatively inexpensive. You can pick that up brand new for around $500 if you want to be a Moog fanboy. I just have the t-shirt. I'm not a huge fan of Moog. Again, this is just a really comfortable t-shirt. If I had a Dave Smith Instruments t-shirt, hey DSI, send me one, I'll wear it. Yeah, those are gonna be my 2 suggestions for synthesizers that you can use. The band Churches, they use the Minotaur. My friend George uses the Minotaur, he loves it. I would recommend the Mofo just because I think it's easier to use a Dave Smith Instruments, like with their filter path and their modeling is a bit simpler. That's all I have to say about that. I'm gonna get back to it, and you know what? If you support what I do on the show, you like what I do here, go ahead and hit that like button, share this video with your friends. The only way we're gonna grow is word of mouth, and that's the way I prefer to grow. So if you could do me a favor and take this video, anybody who you know who's interested in EPROM, share it with them, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.